Good afternoon. Welcome back to Passion World Talk Radio Network. Today we're going to be talking about the Insurrection Act. What is it? Why do we have it? And why do experts warn there are dangerous loopholes and this new threat from our current president? The article is written by Adam Lynch on October 19th. So be forewarned, you're going to hear the Insurrection Act mentioned several times by our current president, and you should be forewarned and forearmed. Consider yourself the Minutemen and women for the United States. Two former senior government lawyers, Bauer, Bauer, and Jack Goldsmith, warn the New York Times that the Insurrection Act, quote, in their words, dangerous law that gives the president broad powers to use the military on U.S. citizens. Think about that. Military. What does that remind you of? One of the reasons why we seceded from United Kingdom, formerly called England? Yes, that's what he has in mind. And they go on to state that during the Biden administration, they and many others failed to persuade Congress to reform this, what they consider an alarming law. Now, in his second term, the president has threatened to invoke it or use it for sweeping domestic military deployments in big cities across the country. LA, Chicago, New York, New Orleans, San Francisco. Ring a few bells there? And they then continue to say they have no illusions, which means they can see it coming, that a Congress entirely under the president's grip, he's taken them hostage. Or you could say blackmail. That's always a good word. I mean, he's already admitted to bribing Republicans to vote his way. That's bribe and also blackmail. But if they saw instances of reckless or accidental uses of force, meaning shooting at people, by American soldiers against American citizens, the public will quickly rediscover the dangers of militarizing the homeland. Think Gestapo, think brown shirts. And the politics on these issues would quickly change too. Or would they? Think about it. The Insurrection Act authorizes the use of the regular armed forces. So these people are being paid in addition to the Guard, which is the National Guard, which they argue gives the president access to a much larger military force without the need to deal with complications that come of simply federalizing and organizing state-level National Guard troops. Yeah, while the military is away, Putin will play. The act also uses what they consider to be extremely broad and vaguely worded triggers that affords this president the widest conceivable discretion. And they go on to state one provision says the president can use the armed forces as he considers necessary. Well, he considers it all necessary, right? To enforce federal law against obstructions, combinations, or assemblages. Whoops, there goes your free right to assemble, folks, that make laws impracticable to enforce. Another authorizes the president to order armed forces to take such measures as he's considered necessary to suppress any domestic violence among other powers. And once he invokes them, he could also use the military as a substitute for local law enforcement and use it for immigrations. So these people who are being paid and taking an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States could soon be suppressing violence, manufactured or otherwise, in cities, regardless of what that actually means, according to the lax rules for invoking this law. And since the Supreme Court seems to not do much in reining in this president's power, they realize that litigation will follow. States and localities could sue, but suits may be hard to win, given the sweep of the authority that the court already has granted the White House. So push that domino and watch it go down the governmental line. Yes, kind of like if something happens to the president and vice president, who is next in becoming the temporary president of the United States. Conservatives once cared a lot, they stated, about the dangers of the military in the domestic realm and about protecting state and local authorities from federal military interference, and that this act was, quote, written for a different century. Yes, it was not written for the 21st century. Absolutely. And they go on to state it will be a tragedy if Congress does not enact reforms until after the law's dangers are abundantly clear. So, what are you going to do? How are you going to handle this? Write to your congressman and demand. Don't ask them. The time for asking has gone by. Demand that they do something about this. Otherwise, you're going to have brown shirts and the Gestapo coming in. I mean, America borrowed a lot of stuff from Germany after the war, besides their Nazi scientists. So who would have thought that an elected official of the United States, who supposedly represent the entire country, not just the ones who voted him in, that has nothing to do, he should be representing the whole enchilada. So think about that. And let us know your thoughts. Write to pwtrnetworkllc@gmail.com. You don't want to use a name? Fine. Make one up. Give us your Gmail or your email from Yahoo or other Hotmail so we can contact you. And if there are other things that are going on politically that you're upset about, unnerved about, I've had several older seniors contact me saying they're really upset about that N word and Putin's ability to use it at any given time when the puppy, as he sometimes refers to Mr. President, gets out of line. So let us know your thoughts. This is an interactive program. This program is here to serve you and to let you know what's happening within your political world. We tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, whether it hurts or not, because sometimes the truth isn't always pleasant. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening to this episode of Lest We Forget History. The Insurrection Act is dangerous, and it's not for usage here in the 21st century, where one should just play a game of chess. That's what it was originally invented for, to opposing powers to sit down and act out their strategies that way. Thank you very much for listening. Have an awesome weekend, and see you in another week.